I'd like to welcome you to the NASA Day of Remembrance. It's a big day for NASA all over the country. At each NASA center, we take time to pause and reflect, to remember those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice, but also to inspire us to future human space exploration, to remember those great individuals that make all this possible. Engineers, astronauts, administrators. We take this opportunity to reflect on our successes and to be inspired for our future missions. Again, welcome to our NASA Day of Remembrance, where we honor our fallen astronauts. I'd like to acknowledge some of our honored guests that are here with us today. First, Janet Petro, Kennedy Space Center Director, our director here at KSC. Thank you, Janet, for being here. And our former director, now Associate Administrator of NASA, Bob Cabana. Thank you for coming down from Washington to be with us. Mr. Russ Deloach, Chief of Safety and Mission Assurance. Steve Clark, Deputy Associate Administrator, Aeronautics Research and Mission Directorate. Kathy Koner, Deputy Associate Administrator for Exploration Systems Development. Mr. Kelvin Manning, Deputy Director of Kennedy Space Center. Mrs. Jennifer Coons, Associate Director, Technical. Mr. Bert Summerfield, Associate Director of Management. And Trey Carlson, Kennedy Space Center Chief of Staff. I'd like to give each a warm round of applause. Appreciation for being here. I'd like to acknowledge our Astronaut Memorial Foundation Board of Directors, the Astronaut Memorial Foundation Chairman and daughter of Lieutenant Colonel Roger Chaffee, Ms. Cheryl Chaffee. AMF Board Member Joe Mayer. AMF Board Member Jack Kirschenbaum, AMF Board of Directors Treasurer Mike Olson. We have also from our board of the Astronaut Memorial Foundation Board of Advisors, co-founder of the Astronauts Memorial Foundation, Alan Hellman. It was his vision that really led to the creation of this memorial. Former board member and advisor and shuttle astronaut, Captain Winston Scott. Daughter of Alan Shepard, former vice chairman of the Astronaut Memorial Foundation, and now has actually flown in space, just as her father, Laura Shepard Churchley. Thank you for being here. Former launch director, Bob Seek. And a long-standing space pioneer and engineer, Lee Solid, also a former board member. We have with us a pretty good group of elected officials. I'd like to interview each one, then we'll hold our applause to the end. County Commissioner, Brevard County Commissioner Rob Feltner, Lisa Cullen, Brevard County Tax Collector, Pam Bobanek, Brevard Supervisor of Elections, Katie Campbell from our Brevard County School Board, as well as Jennifer Jenkins, Brevard County School Board, City of Satellite Beach, Steve Hosmer, Tim Tombas, and also responsible for our Vieira High School color guard today. He runs our RTC program at Vieira High School, but he's also a city council member. We also have Dana Bleakley, our property appraiser. At this time, I'd like to introduce our center director here at Kennedy Space Center. We've been so blessed to have the best of the best run the show up here, and Janet's no exception to that. like to ask her to say a few words.
Thank you, Thad. And thank you, Rabbi, for your message today and for your reflections on Ilan. It was really, really special. And thank you to all of you who are joining us here today. This day, our Day of Remembrance, is a solemn and sacred time in our agency. And in a community that frequently commemorates the milestones and achievements made possible through the teamwork and contributions of so many, today is a different kind of observance, a day to recognize and to honor those who have lost their lives in the pursuit of knowledge. It's a day to step back, to pause, reflect on our pursuits, and also on our history. We gather in remembrance of the heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice in their quest to discover and explore, not for personal gain, but on behalf of humanity. Those losses are heavy, they're sobering, and despite the decades that separate us from those fateful moments of loss, they are ever present in our hearts and in our minds as we continue onward on the path that they blazed. This year marks the 20th anniversary of the loss of crew of Columbia during the reentry of STS-107. For some, that seems like a lifetime, and for others, it seems like it was just yesterday. But for our agency, it is a time that lives here in the present, shaping our culture, informing our decisions, and helping us to forge the way ahead. And as more and more people who were present in our workforce on that day of tragedy 20 years ago retired, it is imperative that our culture, our decision-making processes remain focused on the lessons that we learned from Columbia, Challenger, and Apollo 1. And even as we look to the future, we do so with one eye on the past, reminding ourselves of those lessons and the price that was paid. So from the crews of Apollo 1 to those of Challenger and Columbia, we remember, we are forever touched. We are forever changed. We are forever humbled. And we are forever committed to ensuring the safety of those who carry on their legacies in the name of exploration and recovery. Thank you.
Thank you, Center Director Petro. At this time, I'd like to welcome Bob Cabana. He's made the long trip from Washington, D.C. to be with us. He would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Thad. Why do we do this every year? Why do we have a NASA Day of Remembrance? Obviously, it's to honor our fallen comrades on the Mir, those that paid the ultimate sacrifice in our quest to explore. But more importantly, it's so we do not forget the hard lessons learned from Apollo, Challenger, and Columbia. I'm willing to bet that half of the NASA workforce wasn't even here when we launched the last shuttle mission. That turnover that we had, it is so important that they learn these lessons so that they are not repeated again. 20 years ago, on February 1st, about 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, I was out at midfield on the shuttle landing facility with the landing and recovery convoy, waiting for those twin sonic booms that would usher Columbia back to her home here in Florida. They never came. That was extremely hard to round everybody up, to get them to the right places, having to tell families, significant others, children, that their loved ones, that there was no hope, they weren't coming home. The process that we went through, what we had to learn through all of that, it was so important, but it was avoidable. When we look back, why do we have to keep repeating the same hard lessons that this normalization of deviance, that you can have something wrong, but as long as nothing bad happens, it's okay. It's not. It's very important. And I ask all the NASA team, the Kennedy team that's listening today, that when they go back to work, they ensure that they have created an environment where everybody is heard, where they can ask questions without fear of retribution, that they get answers to their questions, that they feel free to speak up, that when something isn't right, we take action and we actually listen to what people are saying and do the right thing. I don't ever want to have to go through another Columbia. That was an amazing crew. Rick Husband was one of the finest Christian men that I've ever known. Prior to walking out of the suit room, he gathered the whole crew together, Christian, Hindu, Jew, and they circled arms and they prayed before they get into the van to go out to the launch pad. Willie McCool, he was number 2 in his class at the Naval Academy. Technically sharp, probably one of the nicest guys I've ever known. Mike Anderson, Air Force test pilot, 2 of the cutest daughters you've ever seen, now fine young women. What a really nice guy he was. He loved his Audi TT that he drove, and just a really fine gentleman. Dave Brown, flight surgeon, naval aviator, astronaut. What a great guy he was. He was my go-to guy for anything that had anything to do with audio equipment, TVs, whatever. He knew it all. He was on top of it. Oh, Laurel Clark, NASA flight surgeon, astronaut. Laurel had the ability to know when you were a little down, when things weren't right, and she could always make you smile, and she wore the wildest socks all the time. She was just awesome. Kalpna was so much fun. What an amazing, smart woman, but what a really nice person too. Oh gosh, I think back on those folks, and it's just absolutely, I feel blessed to have known them, to have been able to work with them. Ilan, the rabbi said all the great things about Ilan, and he was all that and more. What I remember most from Ilan was his infectious smile. As sharp as he was, as good a man as he was, he could just absolutely bring a smile to your face, and was a pleasure to talk to and to work with. It truly was an amazing crew, and it's so great to see their names up there. I'm never going to forget them, all right? And I don't want anybody to forget. I want it to be personable. I want everybody to feel what I felt knowing that crew, so that we remember and we don't forget, that we don't make the mistakes of the past as we move forward, exploring beyond our home planet, exploring the cosmos, establish a presence in our solar system beyond planet Earth as we go back to the moon and on to Mars. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob, for those incredible words. I'd like to recognize some of the folks that helped make this possible, and some of those who really lead our mission, and first and foremost are our family members. It's no coincidence, and it's a remarkable fact, that the strongest advocates for human space flight and exploration are our families. They've paid the ultimate sacrifice, they've suffered the greatest loss, but they still are the biggest supporters of the dream of human exploration and becoming an interplanetary and spacefaring society. I'd like to recognize and to thank them. I'd like to also thank NASA. What a wonderful partnership that we have. The Astronaut Memorial Foundation would not be here if it wasn't for NASA. And it's a great joy working with the NASA family and the team. We feel like a part of the family. I'd like to thank Delaware North. They run the visitor center. I see Theron Prossi's here. We really appreciate the partnership that we have in making this happen every year. This is a very poignant time, 20th anniversary of Columbia. So we gather in special reflection of that anniversary. And we also recognize all those crews and all those astronauts that have paid the ultimate sacrifices, a day for them as well. And we do have the duty to recognize those astronauts that have the courage to continue to fly and all the wonderful achievements that we're seeing now. So here we have all 25 astronauts recognized on our wall. I'd like to take a special moment to recognize everyone in a special bell ceremony. First, Theodore C. Freeman. Charles A. Bassett II. Elliot M. C. Jr. Roger B. Chaffee. Virgil Gus Grissom. Edward H. White II. Clifton C. Williams, Jr. Michael J. Adams. Robert H. Lawrence. Gregory B. Jarvis. S. Krista McCullough. Ronald E. McNair. Ellison S. Onizuka. Judith A. Resnick. Francis Dick Scobie. Michael J. Smith. Manley L. Sonny Carter, Jr. Michael P. Anderson. David M. Brown. Kalpana Chwala. Laurel Blair Sultan Clark. Rick D. Husband. William C. McCool. Ilan Rahman. Michael T. Alsbury. Now we would like to take this time and opportunity to place a wreath at the memorial to honor those who have sacrificed their lives in the pursuit of space exploration. I'd like to welcome Janet Petro, Bob Cabana, and Cheryl Chaffee to place the wreath, and then we will follow with a moment of silence.